There are no one like fans, and that's why Sky Bet are giving you weekly free bets and boosts all season long. So make sure you click the link in the description and take advantage of these great offers. Sky Bet for the fans.
But look, there's a lot to get into this window, and the one that seems to just rumble on and on it's Marcus Rashford. It's like, where is Marcus Rashford going to go? Should he stay at Manchester United? Is there a world for him to stay at Manchester United? Everybody has an opinion on this. It seems to be one of those things, certain things, when it becomes like societal. Like everybody, no matter who you talk to in the world, has an opinion on where Marcus Rashford should go or whether he should go or not.
Talking about opinions, Sky Bet's Fan View survey, they asked Manchester United fans, do you think it's the right time for Marcus Rashford to leave? And 68% said yes.
That means, if my maths is correct, that 32% believe that he should stay at Manchester United.
Well done, Raw. Quick maths.
But 32% to stay at Manchester United sounds really high to me.
I'm probably part of that 32%, but
I can't believe there's 32% of Manchester United fans who want him to stay.
I also think if he wants to stay, he's got a lot of work to do. And that work starts with probably apologising probably isn't the word, but like making it clear that he wants to be there. I think like the reason I'm defending Amorim on this, and people would probably find it a surprise considering how much I love Marcus Rashford and how much I want him to stay at the club. He's really close to being part of the top 10 goal scorers for the club as well, which I think is huge and historic. But the manager comes into the club, brand new, comes into the club, and within a week or so, you've got your key player, one of your most iconic players, saying, I think a challenge lies away from Manchester United. And he did score against Ipswich, and he did score 2 against Everton. But then we also heard the reports that he went out before the Everton game. The manager didn't find out till after the game, and that's why he was dropped against Man City. And if the manager's tasked with coming into the club and changing the culture of the club and changing the way the team and the squad and everyone thinks and works and all that kind of stuff, he can't just start playing Marcus Rashford when all of those things have happened in that short time he's been there.
Why are you firstly, do you agree and admit that you are quite sympathetic to Rashford?
Yeah, because I look at I think Marcus Rashford is a good person. And I think that's one place to start. I think he's a good person who's made a lot of mistakes. But I also have sympathy because I have a little bit of it in me myself where sometimes I self-sabotage what I'm doing because I feel emotional about something and I just start self-sabotaging. And I feel like, again, I'm just predicting he could have other things going on in his life. But a lot of the reports that we're hearing about him having nights out and doing things maybe he shouldn't do and all that kind of stuff, I feel like he maybe feels like a scapegoat and he's kind of acting out, like a teenager.
Yeah, it's interesting trying to get into the psyche of it. It's just very interesting from you because you're a man who isn't necessarily known for forgiveness. You're not seen in our world, in our sort of football YouTube sphere. You're not seen as one of the more sympathetic characters, I don't think. I think you're seen as being quite a direct...
I'm very emotional though. But I'm a very emotional person.
When you think about how you've described or your approach to various footballers, various Manchester United footballers, Anthony, Harry Maguire, I feel like you are so sympathetic, unfairly.
You know what it is as well? I've seen his journey.
Yeah.
I was there for his debut, his Europa League debut, his Premier League debut. I've seen him lift all these trophies. And like, you know, when you see the pictures of him, you've seen the Google Street View of him.
It's brilliant. It is emotional, yeah.
You know, just things like that. He actually loves the club. And you know the pictures of him crying on the pitch after we won the FA Cup final against Man City. I think that's because he thought that was his last game.
Okay.
And like, I think he's a great person off the pitch in terms of the stuff that he's done, prominently and kind of fighting for free school meal. I think he's a good person. And I want to see, I was kind of counting him down to potentially breaking Wayne Rooney's record. And I think he's going to regret it. I said it on the overlap.
But do you think,
I think he's going to regret it.
Do you think there comes a time, where you just think to yourself, you know what, as Marcus Rashford, him playing for himself in his career, can I really afford to be staying here for another rebuild at 27? I'm in my prime. This is preferably his last contract. He could have gone to a big club like PSG. I don't think that's going to happen now because he just signed a left winger.
So when you say he could go to a big club like PSG,
he's at a bigger club. Yeah.
I know, but he's already at the biggest club. And he's been there since he's a child, but obviously he has to move on now. So now he has to look at options. The only option now is PSG that can match his wages. AC Milan, there was an option, but he's not going there now.
I just don't see a world where he can stay. You know, and I know you won't like to hear this.
I don't think he's going to.
No, I agree with
but
you.
looking at it from the outside in, I have no affinity to Manchester United, no love for them. I just can't see how he has an opportunity to
totally
stay.
agree with
and
you,
I also, if I kind of remove the emotion from it, he doesn't deserve it. He isn't deserving of a place in that. Like, to wear the Manchester United shirt, to run the wing in front of the Stretford end, it is an honour bestowed upon the very best, most gifted, but also hardest workers in the game.
But sometimes I think he's tried though, and we've all seen him try to do it and try to lead the line and playing from off the left wing, and there's been games he's been great and there's been games he's been bad. But sometimes you could look at it, he's probably looking at it like, my own fan base is booing me. I've got my own fan base telling them they're back on me.
But there's a reason why that's happened, though. Because of all
But
the
is that because of the stuff off
the
the
night
pitch?
out in Belfast,
Yeah, but that's
all
off the
these
pitch
different
though,
things.
Adam. That's off the pitch.
They still
bleeds
count.
into his football,
and it bleeds into your football, like Rory says. And look, let's be real here. If Ruben Amorim went into Man United and Marcus Rashford was applying himself properly and all those,
playing him every week,
he needs him.
Yeah.
Like, he needs him. Like,
Do you agree with
simple as that.
you know what? Do you know what Jamie Carragher was saying when we were on the overlap? Jamie Carragher, he made a very funny point where he was like, "Who are all these people?" He's like, "I had my dad. I don't understand who this like entourage."
I think football's changed though, and I think all players have that.
But did you think, even in the same clip, I felt like David Ornstein was very kind to Rashford? Did you feel like there was almost?
I feel like he was trying to give balance,
right,
and that's what I try and bring as well. Like, that's why I always start anything I say about Marcus Rashford with, "I love this kid, but I do think it's over."
Yeah, I understand. I understand how you
So
feel.
Rashford, do we think that he will move before deadline day?
Probably a loan.
I don't think he will. I don't think
he does.
I don't think he will, only because of who. So, you know, if you actually explore that, it's on 325 grand a week. So whatever club you think he's going to go to.
Half the wage. 150.
Yeah, so who takes on £150,000 a week wages? That's a big enough club for Marcus. I'm not saying Marcus Rashford can't get a club. You get clubs in the Premier League. But the clubs that would want him aren't going to be able to match
I think the
that.
way it could happen is, because I think there's some tentative interest from Barcelona. If they manage to move some players out, maybe he could end up going there on loan. We've seen their place is a mess at the moment. AC Milan and Juventus could potentially come in for him, if it gets to the deadline day. Also, Man United might be in a position where they need to just accept a third of his wage.
Yeah. They end up paying a vast bulk of it. So do you think I think he'll end up at Manchester United?
Still staying and somehow comes to an agreement. I'll work
Miles,
hard
you
to
put
the end
the
of the season.
cards on the table, Miles. Pick the club?
The only club I could see him that he was going to was PSG.
Dortmund, PSG.
It's gone now.
Okay.
It's gone.
So
Because they signed Kvaratskhelia.
there's some other players that we should discuss as well. So, for example, Alejandro Garnacho linked with Chelsea, linked with Napoli.
I think the door's closed on that now,
Doesn't look like
because a
it's
lot
gonna
of the
happen, does
talk
it?
was it's up to the manager. If the manager sees a place for him in the squad, he'll be staying. And I think it was more of a PSR kind of thing. If the manager doesn't want him, maybe we'll sell him. Unless Chelsea come in and go, here's 70 million.
Silly.
I can't see us selling him. And also the manager has picked him, started him the last couple of games. So that says a lot as well.
I think that's a mad transfer from Chelsea. Like, why would you want to get Garnacho? You've got all these wingers.
That's a video in itself. Why would we want Garnacho when we have a million wingers in the squad?
He's not even putting up trees for Manchester United.
the title of the video.
He's better than
No, he's not.
wingers.
He potentially,
50-50.
he potentially is better than all of them. He's potentially.
Then all Chelsea's wingers.
He potentially, like he's 20.
Even right now.
Do you
Are you talking about the
remember
long haul?
Chelsea buy potential. Chelsea like the idea of potential. It's gone wrong for Mudryk. Sancho hasn't exactly hit the ground running. I like
Sancho's had a
Neto, but
better
I think he
season.
scored one goal. Madueke, really.
Garnacho's better than all of them.
Pedro,
in my
you got
opinion.
Pedro over there. You got Pedro. You got Madueke still there. Yeah, Pedro Neto.
Does he get any goals or assists? ever?
One. Mate, come on, bit of respect.
He scored against us, unfortunately.
More than me.
Bit of respect. Yeah.
but Pedro Neto's still a good winger. I'm just saying
I
they
think
don't
Pedro
need
Neto is
any
good.
wingers.
But what we don't have, you know how on one side, he's got a free role, but on one side, nominally, it's Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
What we don't have is another obvious starter. So you could argue it's Madueke. I could argue it's Neto. Adam could argue it's Sancho. None of us are right. None of us are wrong. They all have, they're all okay. So there is still a place up for grabs in as much as somebody could make it their own.
Yeah, but that's not the signing.
No, I agree.
You've got the money. Chelsea's a big club.
I think Garnacho's gone really quiet, and I think that he will end up staying at Manchester United.
I think that's because of the manager.
I think he stays at United though.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, Ben Chilwell is a mental situation, isn't it?
I don't know what's happened.
Chelsea have a player on
Isn't he linked
200
to
grand a week.
Palace?
We have a player on 200 grand a week who's a European Cup winner, an England international, and he literally, when you think of the state of our defence, he doesn't contribute at all. Like, how can you have a player in the squad on 200 grand a week who is basically not there?
He just fell. I couldn't even say he's fell out of favour with the managers, because the last manager as well didn't really play him as well, and obviously he had bad injury, so you could take that into consideration.
Yeah, I
love that you say that after we've just finished talking about Marcus Rashford, who's had 300 grand a week. It's basically not there.
But do you know what? But Marcus Rashford is sort of, the difference is Ben Chilwell could train and focus fully on football, and he still would be seen as like surplus to requirements. If Marcus Rashford trained and was fully focused on football, he'd start for Man United. Yeah. That's the difference. Whereas I just can't understand it with Ben Chilwell. Do you believe this system thing? Do you believe it? So, for example, Ben Chilwell's a wicked footballer. If he came to play football with us, play centre forward, he's just a gifted footballer, right? Do you think that, people go, Ben Chilwell cannot play Maresca's system. So Ben Chilwell cannot play the very particular way that they want to play. I don't think that's true.
I think it is to some degree.
You think it is?
Yeah, because your fullbacks now, they invert. Obviously, your fullbacks
invert.
not
be coached to be a system player? Like, why can he only?
Yeah, but it's not even about being
coached.
Can't
stay fit to be coached for start.
It's about trust though, because when you invert into the midfield, can they trust you to be on the ball in the midfield and being comfortable about knocking the ball about without losing it? And obviously you're the left back. They trust Cucurella. They trust the other guy on the right, Gusto on the right hand side when you invert on the right hand side. Chilwell ain't got that in his locker, unfortunately for him.
For
Man United, he'll be good though.
Do you think he leaves though?
I mean, unless someone like Palace take him on loan, no one's going to pay for him.
No.
Maybe
but equally,
pay
does
some
Ben
of his
Chilwell
wages.
want to go to Palace?
Well,
and he'll be back up.
He doesn't have to move house.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's not going to start though.
Get playing again.
He's not going to start over their left back, Tariq Mitchell.
Do they play? What's this? I don't know.
He's not starting over Tariq Mitchell.
Well, he might get a game. What I'm saying,
hear all
more games than
I think Ben Chilwell would fancy his chances over Mitchell.
if he's fit.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Mitchell's better than Ben Chilwell.
I think we only think that. Remember,
No, come on, boys.
Under Tuchel, Ben Chilwell was the best fullback in the league winning the European Cup.
Yeah, but that's a system that suited him, didn't it? Obviously,
And how long ago was that?
Wing back.
3 years. 21, right?
And that's wing back system, right? You played a back three with two wing backs, right? What Man United are playing now. So the system fitted him because he didn't really have to defend. He had a defender next to him that could defend for him. All he has to do is get up and down.
I can't work it out.
He's not better over two.
There's a player I feel sorry for because there's a player who's just been totally done by system. Some interesting news. Arsenal, Ollie Watkins. Arsenal have actually made a bid for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, breaking news now.
Yeah, it's reported at the moment. It's not.
It's quite big though. It's quite a big statement. I mean, the question becomes,
It's embarrassing.
That's the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for Arsenal Football Club.
What? Because you don't rate Watkins?
No, Watkins is very good striker. He gets into Arsenal Football Club right now. But it's embarrassing. It's not going to happen.
Oh, why not?
We approach Aston Villa like 2-3 days before the window finishes. Oh,
when they're in talks with Saudi Aram, by the way.
Exactly.
As well.
Arsenal fans, let's just put in a bid for Watkins to make it seem like we're doing some business. This should have been done at the beginning of the window.
Can I just read out the report that has come out?
Could be very appealing for Watkins.
Oh, mate, 100%. And this is what the report says. Again, it's just reported at the moment. It says, Arsenal have approached Villa to sign Watkins. Fee in the region of 60 million. No agreement or decision yet, but talks with Villa and player representatives advancing as Arsenal try land striker before deadline day. Villa, weirdly, says wants to get João Felix in before they consider selling Ollie Watkins. Watkins wants the move. Now, do they sell Watkins and keep John Duran and then kind of have João Felix as someone that can play off him? I don't get if João Felix is the replacement for Ollie Watkins and he's the guy. I think Villa go backwards.
I think this João Felix thing, people are so wrong about it.
Yeah,
people are so wrong about João Felix. You know this. You know, sometimes a perception of a footballer, it lives forever. And people keep thinking of the Wonder Kid, the £100 million. Like, people keep thinking about that with João Felix. He hasn't been that player for donkey's years. Villa would be mad.
No, but obviously, if they could get 60 million for Ollie Watkins, put Duran down the middle, obviously they spent peanuts on him and then bring on João Felix probably on a loan or a cheaper option. Then that's good
interesting
business
for
them.
Europe having a player like João
United
Felix.
were linked to João Felix as well as one of the forward players just off the striker. And again, it's like, I like the idea of what João Felix was. But I think after Atletico Madrid, I think a lot of that...
it could be good for Villa with a European... You know, like, João Felix could be quite interesting playing at Villa Park in a knockout stages of the European Cup under Unai Emery. Like, because he's unpredictable. There's something about that. But week in, week out in the rigorous Premier League, nah.
That's it.
What Who's a better striker? If you were going to bid for a striker, do you bid Watkins or Duran?
Duran's younger than...
For what Arsenal need right now, Watkins.
Right.
Because he's proven and we know that he's a goal scorer. Duran is a great player. He's, how old is he? 2021?
He's a kid, yeah.
So like you said, he's for the future. But we know what we're going to get from Watkins right now. Arsenal's there now.
He just bang goals now.
No, of course, but we just know what you're going to get from Ollie Watkins. He's a proven goal scorer.
Ollie Watkins,
I'd go Duran,
Ollie Watkins is more
future.
like, for Arsenal, if part of the responsibility, and I think Mikel Arteta does look at it like this, it's why he liked the look of Havertz in that position. It's making sure that the centre forward gets the best out of Odegaard, gets the best out of Martinelli, gets the best out of everybody effectively. Watkins is a more selfless striker.
Yeah, link up
What
play.
does that say for Havertz?
It says that Havertz is what he is.
Havertz is
Done out here.
Will Arsenal sign a striker, Miles?
I don't think
Yeah,
so, man.
I think they will.
And if we do, we get it on loan.
I think this could be the one. I think they cannot let this window close without like it's so
Surely Villa, though. Villa, a lot of things need to fall into place for Villa to go, Watkins can leave.
unless Watkins
exactly.
suddenly goes, I'm going.
This bid here.
Arsenal would be very tempting for him.
Very.
Very.
Lead the line for Arsenal was a big,
It's a good signing.
especially this team of Arsenal, like linking up with Saka, linking
He
up
always
with
performs
Odegaard.
well against
Yeah, he
them as
scored
well.
against them the other day.
It's a great signing. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to Ollie Watkins to walk through the door.
Arsenal
right now.
will sign a striker. I believe
But-
that Arsenal will sign a striker this summer, this window, simply because they have to. Like, it is the solution. Whatever's going
We've
wrong
had
at
to do
Arsenal,
this
it
before,
goes
though,
away.
Rory.
Do you think if it was the summer, they'd be going for Ollie Watkins?
No, 100% not. He'll be going for Benjamin Sesko, and that's who he
Yeah.
wants. And we went for Benjamin
So
Sesko.
would you rather
beginning-
wait for the summer to get your prime target or get Watkins now?
No. Get Watkins now if you can, or get a loan now, or get a.
You're not going to get
But you'd rather Watkins, overall, if you could have the choice of either now, you'd rather Watkins over
Benjamin.
Sesko, right?
Yeah, I would because we know,
Premier League proven.
Premier
Don't
League
you think?
proven.
Premier League
Sesko's.
proven's worth a lot.
We don't know what Sesko's. He might come and flop.
Yeah.
Look at Skamaka. People thought he was going to be the guy.
Yeah,
He came
yeah,
flop.
yeah.
There's loads of
Full
players. Flop.
Basically, any West Ham forward.
Or Man United.